Hey guys, I've got a big one for you.
Hey, phrase it!
It's coming in from those lovely people down on the prison island of Australia. So a lot of stuff has been confirmed, a lot of stuff that I don't think has really been noticed and I want to get into it with you is coming up. So hang tight, let's kick that intro. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we kick this one off, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. New videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. We're just going to keep doing this. Let's get the other stuff out of the way. Want to save 10% on a Cardinal Communicator? Check my referral link down below. Want to support me in all my do-gooderness like these cool guys here? Bam! These should become part of the Brew Crew and join the coffee page down below. Want to know why I'm asking you for money? Well, next to those 5,000 Amazon links that also go to the good cause, there is another link that tells you all about it. So definitely check that out. So let's get into this today. So the information that I've got is coming from Cycle World magazine, and they got it from actual filings that Harley had to give to Australia for their bikes. This is really exciting because all the filings and stuff are for the Street Glide currently, which means we're going to see the Road Glide very soon as well, and that's going to be awesome. But for the time being, let's give a little love and attention to the Street Glide, because quite honestly, in the last few videos, I haven't given that much attention to it because we haven't had that much exposure to it. It's been kind of in the background, and a lot of the stuff has been the Road Glide. But there is a lot of stuff to see in these pictures, and I can't wait to break this down for you. Let's start at the rear of the bike, and we're going to work our way forward. So the first thing when you look at this bike is you're going to see that you've basically got standard size saddlebags on this, except if you look at the rear lights and the rear saddlebags on this, they are stylized. They're actually kind of tilting in towards the bottom. They're not just the flat bottom ones that we're used to, where they come down, cut off, and come in, and that's it. So there's a better look to these. They're a little more angular. I will say that I don't like the fact that the fender doesn't follow the line work that is on these rear lights in these rear saddlebags. It kind of sticks out a little bit. But it looks like Harley's trying to cover that up by lowering the license plate bracket as well. If you notice, this is sitting at the bottom of the fender now, whereas normally it sits towards the middle, or they have that sort of coffin-like license plate towards the top. And of course, we have the CVO taillights. These they've been doing for quite a few years now, so this is nothing really new, but again, it is a little bit more stylized towards the bottom, whereas they're kind of cutting back in after, you know, when they come to the bottom. So it still looks cool. They're still trying to change it and make it look different from previous years. All right, guys, so this is one of the first things that I'm really excited to talk about. It has been rumored that these bikes are going to go to Monoshock, and I think that we finally have the proof that these are going to be Monoshock bikes. Now, clearly you cannot see the shocks because of the saddlebags. However, if you look at one side of this bike, you can see the rear passenger foot peg. Perfectly clear right there. Then if you go to the other side of the bike, you can see the passenger foot peg, and then right behind that there is another knob sitting right there, and that knob looks like the same one that Harley uses with their Monoshocks. So this is the same thing that you would see on like the Fat Bob and stuff like that. However, it's just turned outwards instead of right up against the bike like they do on the Fat Bob, and it's right there. There is nothing else on the other side of the bike that make this look like it would be something else. I'm betting that this is the adjustable knob for the Monoshock that is on this bike that is going to be paired with the inverted shocks that we know are up front. So finally, Harley has moved into the new generation. They've caught up with everybody else with their suspension, and congrats, Harley. I am glad you're doing this. I am so happy you are finally going to a Monoshock on your baggers. This is awesome. And like I said, this is the first big surprise that I see on this bike. Okay, so now we move a little bit more forward, and there's a couple things that I saw that, you know, what was old is new again. If you look at it, we now have the heel shifter has been returned. So we now have a heel toe shifter. So clearly they've been listening to people who were none too happy that the heel shifter was removed. Harley used the excuse, well, nobody uses it anyway, and then sold it to you as an upgrade. Like it's not an upgrade if you're saying no one uses it. So that was kind of mixed signals, but it is brought back. It is on this bike. So hopefully you're going to start seeing that on all the baggers very soon. Okay, so we've covered this before. You could see like that the cam chest and the transmission covers are much bigger, and that's because they're going to the VVT engines. VVT, basically, they're doing this so they can keep the engine liquid cooled. I know people had brought up the fact that, you know, it looks like there may be a radiator on the front of this engine. I believe that that is just there to cool the oil like it always has. One of the main reasons for that is because all the cooling fins are still on this engine. Harley hasn't really tried to mimic those cooling fins on their V-twins that are liquid cooled. If you look at like the new Sportsters, if you look at the Pan America, they're all sporting the liquid cooled V-twin engine, and none of them have cooling fins. Okay, now if we move up to the fairing, the thing you're going to see is a larger TFT screen, and that's something that I called before in an old previous video. That is for the boom audio. And if you look, there are no analog gauges. You cannot see any analog gauges on this console. I wasn't sure in past videos because, like, you know, we had those very zoomed in sort of looks and stuff like that. But now with the pulled back look, you can see the speaker pods, you see the TFT screen, and that's it. So I really, the analog gauges are gone. The other thing that is gone is the glove boxes. If you look, you have that enlarged TFT screen, which is another reason why I believe that the screen is much larger, because you have the screen and then you have your speaker pods. There's nothing in the middle like older bikes that had the little glove boxes on the side. Now, there has been rumor that just down below the TFT screen, there's going to be a little glove box there. That might be, but I don't think they're going to be doing that. Honestly, I think that strip is going to be used for the dummy gauges. And if you look towards the left, there looks like there's a little rubber boot there. Most likely that's where you're going to be plugging in your USB cables for if you want to connect your phone, or if you need to connect for any sort of updates to the stereo and stuff like that. Because keep in mind, in the past, those little USB cables have always been inside your glove box. Without the glove boxes, you're not going to have those USB ports, so it looks like they just moved it down there. So most likely you're going to have your USB port and then a strip of dummy lights, so, you know, low oil, all that goofy stuff. And then the larger screen, you know, you're probably going to have your music, maybe your maps, stuff like that, and then you're going to have your gauges. It makes sense that they went to the larger screen because now you're going to have more information and more display on there. So that is pretty cool. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of that. I do like having analog gauges. It's just the old school in me. I like seeing the little needles bounce around and all that fun stuff. But it does look cool. It looks very neat, streamlined, and it gives that whole like dash a nice clean look. Another thing I noticed is if you look at the gas tank, it still has that teardrop look, but certain angles you can definitely see that like they've got some, you know, definitely they changed the sheet metal a little bit. It's not that streamlined, rounded sort of look. Like if you're standing over the tank and looking down, it's not rounded. You definitely have a nice little crease line there. So it almost looks like, you know, the middle of the tank is one piece and then they welded on the two sides, the two teardrop sides. It just gives it kind of like that more boxier look from certain angles. I actually do like this. Indian's been doing it for a while. I like that look a little bit better than the completely round, bulbous sort of like tank that they use currently. So I'm cool with that. One of the other things I noticed though is as you look at this gas tank, you can't see a gas cap on the left or the right. So I'm really betting that they went back to the center fill gas cap on this. And if you look at the center console, it does look like it bulges up a little bit more towards the top. So that would make sense if they went back to the center fill gas cap, which I'm betting they did. So keep an eye out for that. Mark my words, it's going back to the middle. All right, so to talk about the speaker pods real quick, these speakers don't look any bigger than their previous ones, so it looks like you're still going to have 6.5s in there. Most likely they're Rockford Fosgate line, judging by the badges that are on the bags as well. They're probably just going to be leaning back into that whole Rockford Fosgate stage 2, 3, 4, 40, whatever. But yeah, expect 6.5-inch speakers, nothing big, like no changes there. It's just, like I said, a little bit more stylized. However, if you look at the handlebars, one of the things that has changed are the hand controls. Now they've got that 4-way sort of joystick going on the left side. You can't really see the right side. I didn't see any pictures that actually show that. That may be different as well, but definitely on the left side, the whole hand control setup is completely different, and it is more reminiscent of the metric cruisers, because you do see like controls like this a little more often on stuff like Goldwings and stuff like that. So if anything, this is just going to make it so you could probably navigate through that boom audio stereo a whole lot easier than you can currently with the current control. So that is still quite exciting to see, and I'm really interested to see some of the stuff that they're going to be offering that is in that boom stereo. All right, so one of the things that has been talked about over and over is, will there be a power windshield on this bike or not? I am leaning towards, yes, it's going to be an adjustable windshield, but no, it is not going to be a powered windshield. And here's why. If you zoom in and you look towards the left, it looks like there is a trigger there on the windshield, like towards the far left. And then if you looked at other pictures, it looks like the windshield, the way it goes, like if you're looking at the windshield from a side view, it looks like you would hit that trigger and it would come up like that. And if you hit it again, it's going to come down like that. It's not going to be like raise and lower like you see on the Indian bikes. So I'm betting that they are going with a manual adjustment where it's just going to be up or down. At the same time, it still could be powered, because one of the other things I noticed is if you look at the windshield from the front, it looks almost like there is a vent in the front that can be opened and closed. So that manual trigger there could be opening and closing the vent, and then you could have a second button that's raising and lowering the windshield, although that seems really overcomplicated. Now, save the Harley jokes of making things way too complicated. Trust me, I've probably said them all myself. However, I'm really leaning towards that trigger is just going to raise and lower the windshield by a few inches and just give you that sort of like wind deflection, just a minor amount of wind deflection. Honestly, you're probably going to get like some sort of Clockworks or Memphis Shades windshield later on that has a little lip towards the top, and you'll be perfectly happy with it. But from the looks of it, yes, it looks like it's going to be manual, and I am okay with that. Again, Harley, awesome, good job. Now, just to cover some of the other stuff that we have covered in the other videos, which I do encourage you to watch, I will definitely make sure that they are at the end of this video. You can click on them and like go right to them, because they do have a lot of other information, and they have information on the Road Glide, which again, we're not really talking about today. However, the stuff that you're seeing from the gas tank back is most likely going to carry over to the Road Glide, because really the touring line of Harleys, when it comes to like the Street Glide, the Road Glide, and the Road King, the only thing that really changes is what's on the forks, like how the fairing is mounted, if it has a fairing, and like that. Everything from like the neck back is the same bike, so expect to see this stuff on the Harley Road Glide as well. Now, the rims, they have those wire lace sort of rim things going on. That's nothing new. They did that for the last couple years on the CVO, so it looks like they're still sticking with those and whatever. I mean, it actually doesn't look too bad here, so I'm fine with that. The front fender is not that huge thing that they've had forever and ever. It definitely looks like they put that on a diet and leaned it out, made it a little shorter, a little sportier looking, so I really do dig that. Again, it's got the inverted shocks. It finally has the branded Brembo brakes. It just looks better. Again, no directionals on the actual fairing sticking out on the sides. It's all integrated LED. It's got that LED sort of accent light that comes down and around the headlight. The headlight is a little bit more stylized. You've got that little extra like wind deflector just below the headlight, which they've done before, but this is just a little bit more stylized now. Overall, this looks like a good bike. This is actually one of the first street glides I've seen that I actually like. I am not a fan of street glides. I've said it a million times. I actually like what they're doing here. I really think that this is a good looking bike. Now, let's talk about price, because everyone's going to be wondering about price. Well, keep wondering, because there was nothing in the official release on how much this bike is going to cost. However, expect it to be standard sort of CVO pricing. You're probably going to be looking at about 50 grand for this bike, and that's really what's going to probably turn a lot of people away from this bike, because the price is just kind of out there. I really feel like Harley is just continuously bringing up the price and looking to find that breaking point. And as long as we keep buying into the bikes, they're going to go, cool, we still have room to move. Until something actually fully fails and people are not buying it, they're just going to keep creeping that price upwards. So yeah, expect this to be in the $50,000 range for sure. Okay, so the last question, is this coming out in 23 or is it coming out in 24? Well, that's still not fully defined either. I mean, they have released all the paperwork for it to Australia and stuff, and as you can see, they have completed models. So I still feel like you're going to see this at the homecoming event that's coming up in like what, June or July. I really think that these bikes are gonna be debuted there, and I'm sticking to my guns there. Whether they are fully available to us in 23 or they're not available to early 2024, I'm still leaning towards 2023. It seems like a really good idea to release these as part of the 120th anniversary versus releasing it in an off year. But only time will tell, we will see, but that's where I'm leaning. So that's really what I'm still gonna stick with. All right, guys, so that's what I got for you. Hopefully you found a lot of interesting stuff in there. Is there anything else that you saw? Are you excited about this? How much do you think they're gonna cost? After looking at like the leaks of the Road Glide and the leaks of the Street Glide, is there one in particular that you like more than the other? Throw that all in the comments down below, and as soon as the Road Glide one comes out, I'll definitely be back to do a video for that one as well. Because again, I am excited to see that Harley is actually moving forward and really taking big steps forward. This is a lot of the stuff that I have dogged Harley for years, and they are actually like stepping up and doing something awesome. So again, Harley, congrats guys, congrats. I'm proud of you, big guy, proud of you. That's what I got. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, share this video with friends, share it with family, share it with that one dork you know who's like, anything Harley makes that's new is crap. He loves this stuff, trust me. And I'll see you all on the flip side.